money has to be appropriated and put in a separate account until you have it. So you cannot spend money saying, oh, we might get it in the future. It has to be appropriated. So you appropriate funds into an account to pay for the cost of that project. Money is put in there. We've paid for it over the years as we moved along. We have funds that are still there. That was appropriation that got transferred over. There was money that Water Resources put in to this project as a seed so that we could start the project and get project. And then when the funds came in from the loan company, we would reimburse that. And then at the end, that money will be taken and put towards the next project where we need to have a certain amount of dollars before we can start the project.
So can Jim have a line item of the numbers so he can look at them? Right? Yes.
I would love to see that, because
And you can make sure the dates are on there. Can you see the dates? Because I think the date has a big deal, right?
Yes.
The date's a big deal as to when you spent the money. Like I could borrow money all day long, never spend it, I'll just send it back.
Yeah, right.
But no,
I
can't do that.
The ARPA funds for everything that wasn't paid for before that, after that.
It's a shell game. It's not
A shell
and
game.
unfortunately, the problem is the way Water Resources, because Water Resources is on its customer, they take out loans when they have a big project. That money comes in. You can't take a loan out and use it for something else.
This project before that hit. Why can't you get paid?
Yeah, we're not.
Because that deadline is
That's why the other commissioners.
when the money was set aside for that project.
They'd be put in the hot seat.
That was back before.
Line item.
Well, we'll have to see how we get mine.
Question. Okay, looking at the facility that you put in this Taj Mahal. Who designed this? Because I'm for sure, I don't think we needed a concrete pad, concrete driveway. I think a gravel driveway would have sufficed. I think we need split face block. So it's ornamental. I think regular cinder block would have done just fine. I don't think we needed ornamental plantings in a black powder coated fence. I don't think we needed any of that. So who signed off on this?
Approved by the commissioner.
Oh, okay. Well, again, we didn't have any input because we would have said the cheapest.
Right.
The cheapest, instead of the Taj Mahal with a nice little ornamental strip around it, glass block windows, insulated garage doors, thick, beautiful concrete driveway. Who the heck's gonna go in there every day? Does it need to be, I think it was 6 inches thick. I think the spec on it was 6 inches thick. It's just, this is the policing of our county.
So this is where we're at. $1 exclusion for us, and you guys reported that in Maple Leaf. Make sure you reported in Maple Leaf so we can see it, and now we're out, based on the rule there.
Is my understanding the assessment is due tomorrow?
If you're paying for it, yes. If you, that is the date that's in the resolution.
Tomorrow.
If you have.
accepted the plan?
Just give us some money, no, it's gonna work.
You know it's gonna work.
At some point, we need to set a deadline for that.
At
some point, somebody needs to pay for it, even though it doesn't work.
Now, that goes through a process that we have to go through, so that we have to set that deadline for, that's what people want to pay up front. And otherwise it goes on.
Is anybody paying up front? Raise your hand.
So I'm gonna have to pay interest for 30 years?
I want to pay
Yeah.
up
Is anyone paying up front?
front.
And their house cost doesn't go up.
Did we have any notice on that we're gonna pay for 30 years on this thing? That there was a deadline on this? I never saw anything.
You said you're gonna set a deadline for the people to pay their assessments or whatever. Are you saying a deadline for the contractor to fix the wet well? For
Yes.
it being leaking?
Yes. He's working on it this week.
So it should be fixed by
It
Friday.
should be fixed by Friday.
Okay, so then that's when everybody should be able to start to be tied in, right?
Assuming we go through, we still have to do some testing on it.
Well, if you're charging me tomorrow, can I tell you tomorrow?
We're not charging you.
Are
Are you paying upfront?
No.
And we're not charging you tomorrow.
It's a shell game.
The money, anybody who wishes to pay up front would need to pay by tomorrow. Now, if somebody walks in with the $20,000 check on Friday, we're not gonna say no.
Oh, no.
The reason for that timeline is so that we can determine who is gonna have an assessment on their property, because there's a process that has to go, that has to go through.
That process must start when the plan is available, not an arbitrary time. The plan is not available. If I came in with $28,000 check tomorrow, would you look at it? No. So that deadline is absolutely legitimate.
That
You
deadline
can't
is
charge
not-
for sunset.
I'm not charging, that deadline is if you wanted to pay up front.
Right, what if I want to pay up front?
And you need
I show up here with a check tomorrow morning for $28,000. What will happen?
We don't accept that check.
And then I ask for a high
And you give us notice.
And then I start digging. Well, you would get notice when I can pay. When you assess me, you'll get notice when I can pay. This is not, you don't charge for a service you can't provide.
This gentleman behind you said, for a while.
You've been working on trying to allocate ARPA funds for about month and a half, a little longer, right?
Well, we've been looking at it for a while.
2 weeks ago, you had meetings, right, with the city.
Yeah.
And that ARPA money was gone, right? Am I wrong? I'm right.
The 10 million.
It was gone 2 weeks ago.
This tied to
So
the
all of a
fact that.
sudden, we've been discussing using this money. All of a sudden, magically, 2 weeks ago, you had a meeting. That meeting was about using money, right? And that money was used 2 weeks ago in that meeting. It was, yeah, absolutely, take the money. But again, we've been discussing this for a month and a half, 2 months, however long we've been talking. But yet, 2 weeks ago, you had a meeting, why all this was supposed to be getting worked on. And now that money's gone, 2 weeks ago.
Right, you had the
But
opportunity.
again, some people probably don't have an idea about that meeting 2 weeks ago, do they?
Is this tied to, is this tied to the business about the county building the building outside of the city and then the city suing the county?
Yeah, so we've been in
So
negotiations.
this was so the county brought,
You're not allowed to talk about negotiations outside of it.
so, but this is about the county moving outside the city limits.
The county is not, the county seat is not moving outside the city.
Correct,
But
but,
it's being moved to the new building, it's the service-oriented offices of the county.
but that
They're
wasn't,
more centralized within the county.
right, but that was kind of violation of some agreement that the city had with the county. Facilities being moved outside the city.
No, the city was suing over that move because they felt that the higher rise code required it.
So, question, real quick. Why is it just the exempt funds, 10 million? Because this is a future project. So the ARPA funds could be taken out of the other $8 million for the county courthouse.
There will be some taken out of the other.
You could use 3 right now and then use 15 when you get the rest of it. You could use 3.
Where did the money go?
Mr. DeVore, did you know about, when you guys, all 3 of you, when I asked if you are going to use, if ARPA funds were available from the prosecutor, when the prosecutor ruled and we asked if he ruled in our favor, would you vote yes on the use of ARPA funds?
Yes, to defray some costs.
And the 3 of you said yes.
No,
I'd ask-
Ralph, did not answer.
Only,
No, so we're under the impression that ARPA funds could have possibly been available, and they are, except for the fact that you guys made an agreement to suck $15 million out of it, destroy the whole $10 million exclusion, and there's none left for us. We've been going at this for 2 months, and you guys knew the whole time what you were gonna do with that money. Why didn't you just tell me the truth? Why do I gotta sit here and do this? What is the purpose of you doing this?
I think Mr. Dvorak was the only one that said that he would agree to support
They
that.
all 3 said they would. It's on
No.
film.
Ralph said
Look at
Ralph
that
didn't
spots on the
answer.
ceiling.
No, they were all him and Han.
They all 3 in unison said, yeah, they did. I'll find it.
I just watched it on YouTube.
Well, the lawsuit's been going on for a year and a half, and during, negotiations back and forth, you can't talk about ongoing
It
litigation.
has nothing to do with the lawsuit. It's everything that you knew you were gonna do with the money when you got it. You knew you were gonna do it,
You had a
you knew you were gonna
decision.
remodel that county, the courthouse. You knew you were gonna do
Just
it.
finished the negotiations about a week
Hold
ago.
on. So if you
The city
got
said-
the ARPA money, when did you decide that you were gonna you were gonna use it to, what if you didn't get the ARPA money? Would you still do the county remodel?
No.
You wouldn't, regardless of how the opinion came out with the city?
We'd still be in court.
You'd still be in court. Okay, so the fact that you got money to remodel the county, because you were able to negotiate the courthouse, you were able to negotiate with the city. You basically used our money, Jim.
Yeah, you did.
You used our money.
No.
The money you could have used for us.
We use the citizens.
All right, Jerry, you know
Not the
what?
residents. No, seriously, this is, the decision to do the courthouse has to do with the entire county, not 113 lots.
See, there you go, Jerry.
That's more than this, you know that.
And really, out of those 113 lots, you're talking about 75% of them that still have original septic systems from the 50s and 60s.
Really?
That is the reason why we're here today. We are here today because of the failing septic system.
That's fine.
In
We're here today because of the
Okay, I'll just replace mine then.
I'd like to know, John.
Unfortunately, the EPA will not allow that.
Okay, it'd be a lot cheaper.
That's why we fought the EPA to try to allow us to do that. And they would not permit it once the findings and orders were issued.
People are saying they're gonna lose their houses. How do you feel about that?
He doesn't care. He don't care.
I do. That's why we spent as much time ahead of time trying to get grant money to keep this cost down. That's why Water Resources is picking up $14,000 up to $42,000 per lot.
Jerry, you have the money to help us. Gave it away.
You know, I'm from Boston. I'm involved in a little bit of politics in my town and whatnot. This stinks. And there are ways you don't need to hire an attorney. You just request investigations from Commerce. And there are other avenues I can tell you. This stinks.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even begin. I've read so many documents.
Go ahead and investigate.
A
You
lot
did
of
nothing
things.
wrong.
Oh, well, good.
You've done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
There's easement.
Oh, that's
The road
okay.
has so many lines in it. And the best one right there, based upon the critical need for the project to protect the public health and the environment, no significant adverse impact to local economy is expected to result from this project.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
the most disgusting lie out of like 20 lies in this document. How could you say that? People are gonna lose their homes. And you don't give a shit.
You just sit there smiling. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's it.
And the next.
Are you still planning to put it on real estate taxes?
Yeah.
But the auditor has said that's not gonna happen.
This stinks.
Raise their real estate taxes, but this is how people lose their homes, because we don't pay the real estate taxes, then they're gonna take our house.
It's unbelievable.
And I don't, the auditor is not done trying to find ways to go around this. You know that, I know that, we all know that.
But you're really ready to charge us $28,000 for it right now. That's another thing that.
How many people here are retired and don't work? Could any of you afford to have your real estate taxes increased enough? I forget the number offhand, but Stephen, there are, I would say, a record. Yep.
I think I'm gonna start.
And I called the auditors.
Cars in my yard. That's a big extra money.
Okay, so I think Prosecutor Clays is absolutely wrong in interpreting what he wants to, so that you don't have to use the ARPA funds. So I plan on contacting the Department of Commerce Inspector General. If they turn around and say, absolutely, those ARPA funds can be used, would you use them to help us pay that assessment?
If we got a official opinion from them,
Oh, I'll get
I
one.
would put it back before the commissioners to make that decision.
Clays is wrong.
Yeah. It isn't just because he's your prosecutor, doesn't mean he's right.
I know.
I can give that to my son who's an
If-
attorney.
That's
which
like
I
asking, that's like saying, okay, he is the legal counsel for the commissioners.
Right.
To go against,
Doesn't mean it's
to
right.
go against it, no, it doesn't mean it's wrong. But you ask the question of your legal counsel. You know something you do, you need to do. You ask your question of legal counsel. If legal counsel tells you one thing and you go and do something completely different, you're gonna get screwed.
Why didn't you ask your legal counsel, well, what about the beginning of the final rule that says you can disperse money to any homeowner that's impacted?
Right.
That is has economic
They got that-
deficiencies.
They got that. August of last
And
year.
there's
Full
no,
sense of remodeling that.
conditions upon that. You have the discretion to do
They
that,
won't tell
to
you.
hand out money to people
They
that
have lots
need it.
of people.
Why didn't you ask Blake why
What a
you
waste
can't
of
use
time.
that, do that?
We asked him to review the ARPA funds.
It won't matter. You don't have the political will to do
And
it.
you need a new attorney.
You don't have the political will to do it. You don't. You just don't have the
The
political
other
will to
thing
do it.
is-
You don't help us out, you're not gonna help Little Punderson out, you're gonna help the next one out, you're not gonna do anything. You know, it doesn't matter to you. It
It
doesn't
depends
matter.
on really does
The problem is,
It
Jerry,
obviously
is that
does.
it's not
If your tax went up, I want you to
75%
be screaming.
visually verified and walk my community. Something that, through this whole thing, the water department hasn't done. Hasn't inspected, hasn't had clear records.
I want the entire subdivision.
I talked to every one of you. We have 44 updated septic systems from original out of 113 homes. So approximately 43% of the homeowners that have already had to shell out $20,000. Those people are getting affected even more because they have, some of them still have home equity loans that they have to pay. And they can't go to the bank and say, oh, the county says I now have to connect to the sewer. I can't pay you anymore. So now you add that bill and you add this bill and then you add the water department bill, you got the sewer bill that we're paying off the additional, because back in the day, the county was gonna pay the other half. No, county's upfronting the money for the other half, but we're paying it off.
That's right, the debt.
The money that you're paying pays for operations of this. There's a portion of it that goes to capital improvements, $4. Take that $4 per month, multiply that by the 213 process. You don't get anywhere close to the money that they're paying. That money, that portion of the county bill is being paid by all of the customers of water. That's the way water resources is designed.
Jerry, today I am asking you to put aside 3.1 million or 3.6, whatever the number is you have told us, aside from the ARPA funds for when the Commerce Department comes back and says that we can use that for that. I mean, you agree to that right now? To put
Department of
three,
Treasury makes that decision.
I'm sorry?
It's not Commerce. Department of Treasury.
The Department of Treasury gave the Department of Commerce $3 million to do any fraud or corrupt investigations. So they can look into this.
That's right.
And I will contact the US Treasury too. Do I have your word that you're gonna put aside 3.1 or 3.6, whatever it is, $1 million in case they come back and say we can use ARPA funds?
Because we don't want it to disappear like the others.
Yeah, exactly. We want that put on hold for us.
The remaining 18 million has not been reviewed or approved for any.
Jerry, can you promise that you will save that money?
I don't have the authority to set that aside money.
Mr.
That
Dvorak,
would be the commission.
can you promise that you'll put aside $3 million for us if the Treasury and the Department of Commerce comes back and says that we can use ARPA funds?
I really think that we're too far down the road with their process for the $3.1 million towards this. I come here tonight to just reiterate that you have full communication with me. And what we come up with, like I said, I lobbied the best we could, these guys and the other commissioners. Tonight, they said they're gonna lower the interest rate. They did.
You threw us a bone.
$8,000 towards 113 residents, plus waiving all the fees. It's gonna cost, out of the general fund, almost $1 million for that gesture.
It's gonna cost water resources.
Yeah, you guys,
Linda, can I have a chance?
you built this monstrosity and we're asking you to put money aside. Put it on hold in case we are allowed to use ARPA funds. You can't do that. Okay.
And not make that official decision.
I'm done with the dog and pony show is wrong.
You know, go, make your recommendation and get back to it.
You promised us. If you just promised her that I will take that.
We'll bring that to the
Let me drop two more reasons why I think the county should feel a little more responsibility. First of all, I think you jumped at the selection of that property on the corner. You could have saved a lot of piping And tied in, and asked Frank Wilson, he'd been interested in selling his property, using that right at the rate of saved all that from him up, almost 1,000 feet up the hill. And he wouldn't have had to have another 9,000 gallons to run a tiny house bank facility. So I think that was mishandled. They should have looked at that property. The other thing is that I have a pretty good authority that the county, you keep bringing up the township laughing over this.
Well, I'm having a hard time hearing.
Sorry.
Hello?
Yeah, you guys
Go ahead, sir, I'm having a hard time hearing you, but if you can speak up,
You can hear me, I'll
I
talk
can
to
hear
you.
over these folks over
I
here that don't
understand.
have any respect.
That's why I came up. Well, I think they're still talking, but.
Thank you.
I have a pretty good authority that it was the county, not the township, that first alerted the Ohio EPA.
See the letter, we have the original letter that went from the township to the EPA. And the findings and orders say
The
that
county called them on site when the spill happened. The day of it.
the letter was sent by the trustees.
After we
Gotta
were-
stop.
before that
Trustees
happened.
sent a letter,
Whoa, whoa.
and then the EPA came
No,
out.
raise the voice.
Jerry Morgan
Here's
and the
our
county
minutes.
tried to stop it. Couldn't. It was already in action. The EPA was set loose. And a lot of the critique that the county's getting is should be direct to EPA, but they never come to these meetings. even though they're
Oh, I agree, it's all
So bring them here to them.
But I'm not gonna stand for anybody saying that the township ordered
That's
this
it.
again.
That's right, it's public record. We were told to
It was
file a
posted.
nuisance complaint. That was
By
not.
public health. We don't do nuisance complaints. GCWR doesn't do nuisance complaints. It's public health that does
It
it.
goes back to October of 2013. Look it up. It's in our records.
You know what, the history of who called what doesn't.
That's
matter.
what he doesn't have.
Don't stand in a commissioners meeting and say you should vote these guys out.
I didn't do
That's
that.
bullshit.
I didn't do that. And you know as well as I do how much we put into this ahead of time, trying to do it, because you sat in on those meetings that we had with the EPA.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of pushback, Jerry. Don't give me that.
There hasn't been any pushback the whole way.
There's been pushback.
Yeah, pushback by private citizens
No.
brought up, yes.
No, it has.
Yes.
It has been.
The only
the
thing
county
that's really
did a lot of
been a
pushback ahead
significant
of time.
delay in this whole
At some
thing
point-
was a lawsuit filed by a private citizen who was being affected by this. You guys haven't been representing us. You haven't, you can say you've been trying all you want, but I can't believe that you can't find $28,000 per citizen to help us out. I'm sorry, I don't believe it, especially when you built that monstrosity, like they said, the 3 times. I was in the Army. How many of you guys were in the military? What were military buildings like? They were basic, they were sturdy, they were like painted gray because they had to be painted. They were flat, that thing, like you said, the Taj Mahal. That is a ridiculous structure for what it's built for. You never consulted on
The building, that split face brick, corner block building.
I'm not sure.
That is, that's what
It's
it's like.
talking about the plant, or you talk about the.
I'm talking about the plan. And, you know, you talk about, well, history. Well, history is history, and I agree with that. But somebody has to pay for it, and it shouldn't be us. If mistakes were made, people who made the mistakes need to pay for it. And you've already admitted
I
you made a
can
whole lot
stand
of
here and
mistakes.
honestly say mistakes were not made on this project. I
heard that.
nothing that we did was a mistake. This was.
So you did all this on purpose, so you put it on our porches on purpose.
Because you
All
guys
deliberate.
had failing septic systems.
I don't know.
Whether you like it or
I
not,
did.
you are in a subdivision, whether you like it or not, you are in a subdivision with failing septic systems that cause an environmental issue. When the
You don't
EPA gets
even know
involved,
that.
when the EPA gets involved,
That's first meeting. I asked you guys, do you know the exact source of where the problem is? You said no. You just said,
And that was proven in
find
court.
it in this
They don't know the
project.
sources.
you don't get a million parts per million of fecal in a sample
Really?
from 1 or 2 lots.
Okay.
You get that from a whole.
114.
Not
How do
necessarily
you know they weren't coming
114,
from
but
outside?
it all flows down to that point.
No, it depends on if there was flow, it depends on the temperature. Bacteria double at a rate of about every 40 minutes under the right conditions.
Right, well, there's
So-
10 properties that
Doesn't
flow
mean-
the other way.
Only when they test it.
There's 10 properties that don't even flow towards the creek.
Right.
You know, there's 5 back on Omar, whose backyards, which is probably where the septic system is, flow the other way. But they were included. Yet we have 2 houses within the development that flow to the creek that weren't included. So who made up this grand plan as to which houses would be included? You can't say it's Berkshire Estates because you left 2 houses out. I've been pointing that out since the first meeting. Who made those decisions as to what the boundaries
The
were?
decision was made based off of the flow to the point where the test was.
Okay,
The
but
2
there's,
houses on the other side of the street.
Yeah, coming from
There's
Omar,
10.
kind of, it goes that way.
And it's a subdivision that flows out. That's what the EPA decided, was it was a subdivision. Findings of order say sewer Berkshire Heights subdivision.
Well, that would include even the new houses down along the back of Henning, but those weren't included.
yeah. They're all included except the 2.
No, all the way at the end, where the cul-de-sac, on Howard.
Oh, yeah.
Which are not part of Berkshire Heights subdivision.
Yes, they are.
They were separately platted at a later date. So they don't fall
No, there's 2 houses.
But how do we know they weren't contributing to that?
Well, they're flowing the other way, just like 10 houses on,
I know I'm not contributing because I'm not tied in. I have a new septic. It's in the back. 44 other people have new septic, so they're not contributing. And
That's
in
not
the court
the same,
case,
though.
if you remember, Dave Sage said, "Oh, I grew up on Omar. I've known for years that this has happened." The Hill Health Department has known for years, yet the county did nothing. Nothing.
it still has it,
It still hasn't.
as far as the,
And so us as citizens, you have to understand, we're afforded rights. Every other citizen in the county gets a right. Your septic's failing, the health department comes out, issues you a citation. You have so many days to get it fixed. We didn't get that. We weren't afforded that right because either the health department isn't doing their job, because what came out in court is they've known for years there's a problem here. Why wasn't it ever addressed? So either whoever's in charge of the health department is wrong, whoever is in charge of the water department isn't doing what it was supposed to, previous to you, and maybe probably previous to you. But you're in charge of septic, you're in charge of,
We're not in charge of the health district is in charge of septic.
okay, you're in charge of the,
Public sanitary.
But you said everyone had a failed septic, so are you taking control of it or no? Because you just stated to us that I have a failed septic. You're wrong. We gotta put that right there. Because in 2016, when I purchased my home, because the county's on top of their game, right? They came out, did an inspection that wasn't needed.
Was
because
it public
of
health
this
that came out?
Whoever does inspections, they'll hold a homeowner's contact, so I can't do right to that. Came out, inspected my septic, said, yeah, clean bill of health. I went out, we whacked around it, I chipped my lid. I called the septic guy, go, hey, I need a new lid. Gets a new lid, which you probably replace fault. So I took care of my system, like responsible homeowner, like you stated, it would fix it. But yet, you're penalizing me, saying you just said 10 minutes ago that I'm part of the issue. Am I really? Because your guys that the county hires, because you represent the county, came out, passed it, me as a responsible homeowner, fixed what needed fixed. But yet, you just stated that I'm the problem because I have a failed septic. So explain to me who, I don't see why.
You have,
I-
there's
I-
failing septic systems in the subdivision.
There are failures. There are
Which ones?
fix of that. Which ones are failing?
Yeah, which
I'll go over it.
Which ones are failing?
Please tell me which ones, and it doesn't matter at this point. because
It
you
does,
keep saying-
because you
it
stated
mattered
I
at the
have a
beginning
failing
when it
system.
should have been known, which if the county health, if the health district was doing their job. Now, we're as citizens, we don't get to call these shots. We have to abide by the rules of the health district, right? We don't get to tell them what to do, they have to tell us what to do. Okay, so when you look at all the people that have put in new septics, we're not part of this, but yet we're part of this because the county lumped us in as one part. And when I met with the EPA, this is 2 weeks after they came down with their rules, I went down to Twinsburg. I sat with them and I sat with the director and he says, yeah, but your septic's eventually gonna fail, so we're just gonna make everybody connect. I have a permit for a septic that I put in. Just like I have a permit for my house. Now, when the building code changes, do I have to change my house to the new building code? No, I have a permit.
You never, in the meeting we had a long time ago, we all asked, I'd be more than happy to pay for a test, and have my septic test, and many people said, yeah, I agree. And even though Ralph was sitting up there, I don't know what he was looking at, I'm not really sure. And the other guy, and I asked him, I go, Ralph, you signed this paper here, and I had a copy of it. He goes, I didn't sign it. Well, unless that's forgery, you signed it. And I hold it up. And I stepped right back there where the guy with the hat is, right? I sat back and I presented. And I said, I'd be more than happy to cooperate with the county to have mine tested. If they say, hey, you got $20,000 and something fixed, you know what? I'd agree. Yeah, I'll tie in there. But they say, hey, you need a screw in your lid. I'm going to pay the 47 cents to get my lid fixed. But that's the thing. You never gave us the opportunity to present to you that we have passing systems. Because I guarantee you, and you just said, you set up there, 75% of you got failing systems. Where did you get that number?
I did not say 75%.
Yes.
75% are original.
Original,
So
where did you
50%
get that
are not.
number? Did you go test 75% of Berkshire states to get that number?
No, I looked at what the health district had in their.
Okay, well, let us get a test and see if it's properly tested.
It's beyond that.
Because it didn't happen. As soon as the EPA came out and issued the findings and orders, we were not permitted to go ahead and test
Are you
everything.
concerned with the EPA about that?
Yes, and the EPA said no, because most of those systems would have to be off-lot discharging systems, which under the current rules are NPDES permitted,
And a jet
which
system.
is the EPA has that permit. So the EPA said, no, and you can't go and test them to determine which ones are problems and replace the ones that are problems.
Actually, during the court case, we proposed to let a subcontractor come in and test each individual home to find the problem. And then we even proposed everybody chip in to fix those failing septics. Still be cheaper than what we're doing. And the health department came up with a new hoop to jump through, because there's all kinds of hoops we have to jump through. That only a licensed sanitarian could do it. So a subcontractor that puts in septics and test septics can't do it. It has to be somebody licensed, and there's not enough
We have one
people
right up
to
the
do
road.
it in a acceptable amount of time. It would take over a year, according to, because you couldn't find licensed sanitarians.
Is there a local job?
This was a year and a half, a year ago.
That would have been done by now.
But the bottom line is, it's always kicking the can down. It just kick the can, let's keep kicking the can. Oh, let's see if we can get ARPA money. No, we already promised the money. Let's see if we can help. And the problem is since day one, actually, since for 30, 40 years, when these septics were somewhat in their usable service life, they were saying that there were problems, according to Dave Sage. They came out in court. He's known because he grew up there. Why wasn't anything done? You're our government representatives. Where is our justice? Because anybody else, if I live in Chesterland, where I grew up, and my septic's stinking, my neighbor calls the health department gives me a fine. And they give me a ticket and say, fix it. Where's our due process? We don't get that. That's why the county's liable.
We just get fined $20,000 each. No process.
Well, I bought my house in '05. Nobody ever came out, nobody questioned it. I don't even know where my tanks are. The county never questioned it. It's never been, as far as I know, I mean, it's flush the toilet, it goes away, that's all I know. No, I'm in favor, I want to tie in. You know, I don't want to pay the 28,000. I think it was handled extremely poorly, the whole system. You know, there's houses that flow away. There's houses that have perfectly good septic systems, and nothing's been done in the, 10 years, 9 years, to identify the culprits. It's still flowing into the creek.
You don't even know if the culprit is inside the house.
Well, there, I mean, I think,
We
I know,
do know that,
Where is it?
because it was in, the testing came from the drains that run just in that subdivision.
well, there's I'm relatively certain, I mean, I've got, there's a pipe, a cap on a piece of pipe in the grass up front, that I assume is.
Nicely placed between the two trees.
No.
Not your pipe, you did a nice job on that, I appreciate that. But ever since I've been there, there's a piece of pipe sticking up in the ground with a stone in it or something, that I assume is the outflow for my system that goes into whatever this lateral pipe is. I don't know.
Just because I've been contacting the county, but I don't get the answers. Steve just said nicely placed pipe, right? That's what he just said in Mike's yard. Yeah, nicely placed pipe in the yard. One, I mowed today, I probably kicked up about 150 rocks, because they didn't plant one seed, I swear to God, they found every weed they found, it was like, I fucking blew it here. And it's horrible. I contacted them because, one, the guy that's a foreman on Track's crew is my family member, so I know exactly how they dug. So I sat there and talked to him for 2.5 hours, right? So I told him, I was like, you guys ripped half my root system out on this big maple tree. He goes, yeah, unfortunately, you're probably gonna lose it. I went, okay. So I called, go ahead, and I call up the guy, hey, this is a concern I have. I literally watched them dig it. They dug out all these root systems. And the big tree, when it takes down, it's gonna take out my house, it's gonna hit my neighbor's house, or it's gonna take out my power lines and everything. So I asked him nicely, I was like, you guys took out 40 trees. Can you just take this one down because you guys have hurt the tree? My address is 10962. I want that out, just go, you guys can come check the tree out. And hopefully put some dirt down and some seed maybe. But the tree I asked about getting it removed because the county has paid for the other trees to get removed. Well, now my tree is dying out. This year I had very little blossoming, nothing. But the county, I called them, some guy couldn't even call me back and send me a letter. Couldn't call me back, just had a simple question. And it was, well, we're not gonna do anything.
Which street?
How much?
Which street?
The front of, yeah, Dwayne Road.
Next to me.
It's about, I don't know, 4 feet diameter. Big
Right by my
maple tree,
people.
but again, that's an expensive takedown. I get it, but I'm liable for the tree. I'm just asking you guys to take the damn tree down when you had the whole company there, take down all the other trees, because the root system's gonna die out, that whole tree, that almost. And again, Sharon's history being maple, that's a nice tree to have, I enjoyed it, but again, it's gonna die out. I'm upset about it, but I mean, it's part of construction, it's where you gotta place a pipe and fill it with stone and weeds, but I mean, that's the big thing, is I tried to take a little bit of pride, if you haven't passed my house now, yes, I forgot to weed whack, go ahead and judge me, whatever you want. I forgot to weed whack, but still, I like to have some, like, nice dirt, some green grass, instead of weeds and rocks and a dead tree. But again, that's gonna be on top of my $28,000, so now I got $4,000 in tree removal, plus I gotta get the stump grind, then I gotta clean all that up, then I'm gonna have to dig through everything that's left of the root system, because we have to do a tie-in. So my costs just keep going up, $28,000 ain't shit, I wish it was $20,000.
Right.
It's gonna be $55,000 when I'm done. I gotta buy pipe, I gotta buy stone, I gotta make sure I have the proper safety equipment. Yes, I'm digging mine myself, so I'm gonna save money. But again, these are all accumulated costs that we have to experience. And the 28,000 people, yeah, they're upset about it, I get it, some people may not have some issues. The majority of the area is gonna have more than just the 28,000. Plus your tie, plus removal of a tree if you have to do, because go figure, where I have to tie in. Here's why I had to tie in, right? Here's where they put my tie in. So I have to go through the tree, over to get the tie in. So I have all these accumulated costs associated. When I contact the county, I don't try to get unreasonable. I listen, I work for cities. I do this is my job. I understand what it's like to get that angry resident. But at least we try working with them. Hey, we'll do what we can. Not a letter of sorry. I mean, you guys took trees out for that specific reason, of the tie-in issues. But when I contact to ask nicely about it, I get pound salt, and we're gonna give you rocks and weeds. I mean, that's what I'm upset about. I mean, I don't know about everyone else, but I'm pretty upset about presentation. That was horrible presentation.
It's been handled badly from the beginning.
And the thing is, when I go up and talk to the different people that were landscaping, that had the landscape contract to maintain the distribution center, US Lawns, they were out there, I talked to him, I couldn't even talk to him, because he didn't speak English. So I was asking him, hey, you got any leftover dirt? Can you drop it off here? That was all I was asking, I would have done it myself. You know, nobody else would go, he said, don't worry.
That is a big, I didn't consider that.
No.
Do you have any plans to, two things before I leave? Can I have an accounting of the project? Like, where does that go? Like, when you started, got the money, started spending it, track, do you have like an accounting for that?
Yeah.
Okay, can we get that? Sure. In a timely manner?
Total residents?
Just to satisfy what we're seeing and what you guys are telling us. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Can we have an accounting of the project from the beginning to the end?
He said we'll do it this week.
Okay, so then, do you have any plan on doing anything with our roads there, put them back the way they were?
I have a brand new car and I've already got chips out of the paint on it because of your road.
Well, I know you're gonna
The
tell
one
me the
that was
township
the
road,
mistake.
yada, yada, but it wasn't like that when you got the handle.
And putting a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit doesn't fix it, okay? It's not near.
Is there any money available for that?
The only thing I can say is we'll look into that.
You're gonna look.
But there are issues that are associated with that.
I drive, you got some beautiful roads in Geauga County, they're beautiful. And I know that Dave Joyce is, here you go, take it, engineer, and go pave roads you probably don't need to be paved. But we can't get that road back, I mean, have you been down that road lately?
Not lately.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
It's
Make sure
unacceptable.
you got a brand new car.
First of all, you destroyed the equity in our houses by slapping 50 grand on us, right? So now, right off the bat, how much is the house worth? Minus 50, okay, now it's worth that. And then they gotta drive down the road and go, I want to live here on this road? Like, do I have to drive this road every day? You can at least, come on.
You should see the dust cloud the school buses pick up.
I mean, Jerry,
Somebody
this, I mean,
outside
you
the
can't,
school bus-
your heart is
school
like
district
zero,
bus,
like,
speaking
you're
buses.
zero, bro. You're like looking for every opportunity not to do anything here because you don't want to set a precedent. And it's really disheartening, it really is. Because I know you're sitting on a ton of cash, and you're sitting on a ton of cash too. Ton, 3 million, 30 million, plus. Don't tell me you're not. You don't have $3 million to cough up. You got $3 million in your shoe.
And there's
I'm serious.
really nasty.
When I
It's
got
not that big of a
drinking,
deal.
I know where there's some money. You buy it?
You go to Little Plunderson, and you go put in $3 million in a snap. But you won't. Why? Because you have to answer to it. Yeah, you should be helping everybody out. If you couldn't help out Aquila and the ones before you, okay, fine. You gotta go something, you have to put a plan going forward. You can't throw a bone and ask somebody to go away. This is a joke and you know it. You know it is. And I'm tired of these commissioners not being here. These guys gotta take the heat. Steve's gotta take the heat, Jim's gotta take the heat, you gotta take the heat, and these other two go sit in a hot tub? That's garbage.
I have another question. Why isn't Deep Springs involved in all this? Because they originate the stream that runs all along Canyon. Why are they not being tested or?
They are being tested. They have their own wastewater treatment plant. That's permitted by the EPA. And EPA requires them to do testing on a regular basis.
When it rains, they open their floodgates and that's what goes all down, behind our houses.
But they have a sewer system. They have it.
Why are we looking into that?
Because it's tested and submitted and approved by the EPA.
All right, so it's operational. So why are we looking into that? I guess
We
one last thing.
actually did have a conversation with them early on in this process of being part of the system.
Just to hint for the future, just to try to keep a little heat off of you guys in the future. It's really degrading to have you stand here and tell us that, you 113 residents, you're trying to take more than your share of this or whatever. I mean, we all have our problems, you should do best for all of us. Seriously. When you made that remark that was, I don't know, the rest of you were insulted, I was insulted. You got 113 residents who were trying to take this percentage of this or whatever. We're residents, we're all here, we're all trying to make it. And you guys have a very good way to say that you
I've heard that argument. If we
least 3 different meetings. And yet, in the last meeting, they approved over $1 million for a Monroe Bridge. I've never been on Monroe,
And we pay for it.
and we're paying for it. Or improvements to Monroe. Actually, I'm lying. I was on Monroe 20 years ago, once. And yet, I'm paying for that bridge. Why can't they assess the bridge for the bridge?
That's the road levy that you pay with your taxes.
Thank you.
That goes towards the engineer's office on what they do, and they have a program where I don't know exactly how many years it is, but they have a program set up on roads that they repair around the county. On a yearly basis, and that's one.
That was a tough question.
Okay. If there's anything else, I'll be around. If anybody wants
Okay,
to-
I have one question. Okay, this is probably ridiculous or stupid, but why couldn't the county take out another loan and use the ARPA funds to pay the first loan?
Yeah, she's right here.
And then you don't have to pay.
Still in a roundabout way paying on the first one.
Videotape all this. Where do you get it?
Okay, I know we're not using it. Geauga County
Maybe
does
use it.
not care about its residents. I sat here, I've been quiet, I've
I got
tried.
pen and paper.
The downright truth is, none of you people care because you're living in your little gold castle. We're all gonna lose our houses. How much Section 8 housing do you people have? You don't have enough. We're gonna have to be in Section 8 housing because we're gonna lose everything. You don't care. Honestly, you do not care. I used to respect you, Jerry, but now I do not. And I know you don't care about that. It doesn't matter that you've lost my respect. You don't care. I don't respect any of the commissioners at the moment. I wish I hadn't voted for Jim DeCoria. I mean, I think we're all in big trouble, and I don't think the county cares anything about us. Not once, not a tiny little bit. I don't think anybody cares, and it proves it right now.
Sorry you feel that way, but unfortunately, we have rules and regulations.
You have rules, rules can be bent, rules can be broken, rules can be changed. You don't want to change anything because you think 113 houses don't matter. You don't think we matter, and that's it. You basically stood up here and said, we don't matter, we don't count.
As far as money coming from the general fund for the Geauga County, there's an issue with spending money, a lot of resources for these types of projects. with the general fund. The prosecutor even provided us with that. If we did that, we use the general fund money. The ARPA funds aside, we use the general fund money. That would open us up, open the county up to a taxpayer lawsuit that we would lose.
My septic system runs to the bathroom. It doesn't run to the ditch to the road. Yes, the trash, totally trashed our ditch. We can't even mow it because they didn't fix it. There's gravel in it everywhere. They took their big equipment and drove it in and out of our driveway. And the pipe at the end of the driveway is now broken. Who has to pay for that? Me. Because when I called Trax, they said, not our problem, call the county. I called the county says, not our problem, call Trax.
Who did, you know who you talked to at the county?
I don't know for sure. That was last summer. The bottom of our driveway is now this way.
What is your address?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
What's your address?
10873 Hemming. Yeah, the driveway was even, now it goes like this at the bottom. I mean, that's another expense. I mean, it keeps rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling, and it's like, hey, why did I just give you $1 million?
Well, if there was an issue with that was caused by the contractor.
Yes, I called them several times about different things.
We will address it.
Okay, and they, I mean, they just didn't even ask if they could move their equipment in our driveway and let it sit there. Now, that itself is completely rude and ridiculous. I think they ought to be fined, and they ought to have to be paying for some of the stuff that they did.
And that's what we will be doing. So
I mean,
that's an issue that was
looking
caused
at it, look
by
at
the
our ditch,
contractor.
because
will
we
get it.
can't mow anything anymore.
And it was somebody said, driveway. I understand, I've been there not too long. You got a girl like her.
There you go. They sat too long in a low chair.
You got a hell of a wedge.
It doesn't make sense.
What's the next meeting?
I haven't.